Hey everyone, my name is Rodney. I'm the president of Oasis Gaming. I just wanted to introduce this video today. We have a very special guest with us doing our community moment. For today's video, we have our good friend ChicNwingDooney here to share about growing up as a gamer and the influences that helped him become the person he is today. So, without further ado, ChicNwingDooney.
My first video game experience was around about 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And I really wasn't the best at, gaming at the time. It's just push buttons. It's fun. It's on the TV. That's it. And then I didn't really get into it until I want to say mid 80s. This is when the Nintendo Entertainment System first hits the market, right? And my mom was blessed enough to help me and my dad and whoever put money in there. Thank you. I appreciate it. They brought me a Nintendo system, so I have Mario. A lot of kids didn't have Mario in their house, but I did. And my mom took time to play it with me, and I had fun. And it was my first experience with it, but
Your mom played games with you?
just one time. Just once. It wasn't because she said I don't want to get addicted. So I kind of knew where that was gonna go with her.
I think she was onto something.
Yeah, my dad kind of same thing, very hesitant with video games unless it was something that he liked. And my old man was into Kung Fu movies. He loved Kung Fu movies. We would get up and watch Kung Fu Sundays on TV, right?
Yeah.
So when Mortal Kombat hits the market, oh man, my dad flipped. We were in a Walmart one day. I'll never forget it. We hear this scream, like, ah, like what? So I run over there. It's an arcade, like pocket. You know how stores had arcade pockets? So I run over there. It's crowds of people standing there. We see this guy. He walks up, Ninja walks up, rips this guy heads off his head and holds it up. My dad was like, oh, what is this? And then we looked at the name. It was like Mortal Kombat. He was like, he said, is this on the game console? I was like, I don't think so, Dad. First time I know about this. He said, you didn't know about this? I said, no. He's like, we're getting this game. We're getting this game. I'm like, okay, but I don't live. My parents were split up at the time. They were divorced. But he's like, we're getting this game. I'm like, okay, Dad, no problem. So I had a Super Nintendo at home. But the only reason why I had a Super Nintendo at home because my mom was one of those parents. She didn't want me to have violence and this and that. Nintendo I could have. Genesis I couldn't. Because Genesis, at that time, had violence and everything like that. My dad was determined to get the game the same way he's seen it. He asked me, he said, do we get it on the Nintendo or do we get it on the Genesis? I said, Dad, we got to go to Genesis. He said, why? Because it's the violence is on the blood too? He said, yeah, we get to get on there. So he takes me personally to go and get it, right? We go get the Genesis version. He get in there. Now, the hint was there was a way to get the blood. Because when we first got it on, it was like, hey, there's no blood. But if everybody who really read their manuals like they're supposed to when you get games, you would have found the blood code in the manual. I think it was on the back of a page or it was somewhere in the manual. But if you would have got it on the Genesis and looked in there, you would have knew that you could put the code in and you get the blood. And the funny thing was, even though everybody knew about the blood code, it's like they knew, but they never told. Like, it never got out. We kind of kept it. And that's funny because I never heard parents complain about their kids playing
the news
it.
started showing it.
Yeah, the news started showing it later. But then we didn't know I cared. It's too late. Now this is still that mid-'80s part. So arcades are big, skateboards, all that good stuff, yada, yada. I'm in Texas, so we don't have a lot of metropolitan area. And then I'm on Galveston Island, so I'm on an island. But because it's a tourist town, they did have little small arcade spots. But I'm young, I can't get to them, and I don't have transportation yet. So I don't know what's all on the island yet because I'm still too young to go off on my own yet. But the school where I went to school at, and the corner store, and then there was a wash interior, like I want to say a few blocks away from my home. I go over there to help my mom wash clothes. We didn't have a wash and dry at home. And I see arcade machines. She already knew where I was going. So I go right over there, and I'm just looking at them. I don't have any money to pay for it, but I'm just staring at the screen like this, just kind of admiring like a pretty girl. It's the same thing. I was just looking into Miss Pac-Man's eyes and just waiting to play with her to eat up some pellets. I can just see myself playing these games. This is what I want to do. So a nice old man that notices that. I don't know this man owns this place. He's the owner of the wash interior. But I didn't know this. He sees me just staring into the screen. He's like, are you going to play this game? I was like, sir, I don't have any money to play it. I just want to look at it. And I would watch other people who did have money go, like, as soon as I saw somebody go up and play with a quarter, I'm standing right behind them watching the game. And, you know, I didn't do anything else. I wasn't like a creeper or nothing. I just was a kid watching them play the game. So after a while, he was watching me do it so many times. He asked me, he was like, young man, if you really want to play this bad, I will give you some money to play it. I was like, sir, you don't have to give it to me, but I'll take it. So I took the money. He gave me like $1. I spun it off. Done. So I don't know if he looked at this as a money-making scheme for him or nothing, but I thought of it now as an adult. I could think about it back then, but really, when I look back at it, I think this man taught me structure about certain things. So he was like, I tell you what, I actually own this place, and I know you want to play these games, so I tell you what, how about you work for me, help me clean up the place, and I'll give you money. You can play all the games you want, you know? And he was like, I was like, cool. I'm a kid. I don't care. Just as long as I get money. Now looking back at it, all he did was get that money back. Because I put it in the arcade machine. So it's like anything he paid me is going to get it right back. But I think he just realized that, you know, I was a good kid. It kept me out of trouble. And I always came there. Like, I already knew, hey, what could I do to get some money, play some games? He's like, oh, you can do this, do that. And it wasn't nothing crazy work. Like, I just picked up a little bit of trash. You know, when he would clean out the dryers, I would take all of that out and go throw the dumpster for him. That was it. It wasn't like he was getting real work out of me. It'd be like 1 or 2 things and then I'd be done. Normally, he'll give me like $1 or $5, something like that. And one day what I did, I started just cleaning the place up on my own. Like, I came in there, he knew me so much, I could go behind the counter. I went and grabbed a broom and I started sweeping, and I swept up all the dirt, and I did everything, and I just did it. And then when he came in, he was like, hey, you waiting for me? I was like, no, I already cleaned up. He's like, you cleaned up everything? I was like, yeah. So he gave me $20, and I spun it like that. but to no avail, eventually I did start saving my money, though. Sometimes, because he told me, he's like, you know, you ought to save some of your money. He said, I'm not saying that you can't play the game, but it'd be nice to save a little $1 here, $1 there. He said, think about it. What if I can't pay you or something bad happens, and you don't have the money to play? I was like, yeah, you're right. So now I always stash like $2 away and keep a little money, so then I start learning. So having Mr. Hill in my life at the time was one of those things where you don't know who's in your life that is really important, that helps structures you, not related to you at all. You have no kind of connection, but maybe through something else you have a connection. And me and him in video games had a connection. He's seen that it gave me a goal to do stuff because I love this so much. And so then since I was focused on that goal, I would do anything to be a part of that. And he utilized that, and it actually taught me how to be responsible. Actually taught me how to be well manageable of money, because I was just running through those quarters, I tell you. And it just, I actually end up getting a kinship with this man, and I'm not even related to him, because he was looking for me to come in sometimes, and sometimes I didn't come. And he would ask me how I was doing. Hey, you haven't showed up. I mean, and he would get new games just for me in there. Like, kids didn't even know that, because I would ask him. He was like, hey, I heard this game came out. Is it fun? I was like, yeah, you need to get this game. And he would put it in there and get more money, because the kids be like, hey, I got this new arcade machine. So it benefited him, and it benefited me. He had the wash interior, and then the pool hall was like a few blocks down. This is where he had pinball machines, pool, everything. Now, this is for the adults. It wasn't meant for me to be up in there. I go in there. Now, he doesn't know I'm in there first. I'm going in there because I heard there was games in here. I'm going to find out if there's games in here. You're not supposed to be in here. I don't care. There's video games in here. First time I see Kung Fu Master. The first time I see Final Fight. The first time I even knew there was a Ninja Turtles 4-player game. I didn't even know that. And Ninja Turtles is banging at this time. Oh, man, that Ninja Turtle machine I would stand there all day till he closed and just look at that machine. 4-player arcade machine. Are you serious? At that time, that was unheard of.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Hill finds out I'm in his pool hall. He's mad. What are you doing in here? This isn't a place for kids. I'm like, well, you got video games in here. None of these guys are in there playing video games. And he was like, you know, you got a point. I said, I tell you what, how about you let me and my friends come in here and let it be an arcade room like it's supposed to be, and not a pool hall. I understand you want adults to come in too, but I don't know if you know it or not, Mr. Hill, but this neighborhood's not that great. He's like, yeah, I ain't gonna lie, so there's some bad activity been happening in my place that I don't like. I say, well, yeah, you need to let kids come here more than other people. He's like, but I don't like kids. I'm like, well, you like me? He said, but you're not no kid, though. You actually got sense. And I was like, okay, Mr. Hill. So we had that debate, but then he took my advice, and he started letting kids come in there. And when he did that, his revenue went up. It went up, And when I seen him again, he started putting candy in there. He started putting things so when kids come in there and play games, they get candy and all this and that. And Mr. Hill made him substantial money. He kept bringing new arcade machines there. And if the machines wouldn't get noticed there, he would bring them to the washateria like I was asking him to. And that was just the kinship me and him had until I moved. Once I became an older teenager and moved, I didn't see Mr. Hill that much anymore. I didn't live in that neighborhood. My mom was still strict about letting me go places. So I just got to thank Mr. Hill. I know he's not with us anymore. But I would like to say this, and this is a true point. If it wasn't for that gentleman teaching me about learning how to work for what you want and do what you want, if it wasn't for the video games driving me to want to play them and to get to that atmosphere, I wouldn't be where I am now. And yeah, I might have things happening in my life where I may not be where I want to be, but I'm still around video games. I'm still having something to do with video games, and that's what makes me happy. It's a great hobby. I think it helps a lot of people who struggle with either mental illness or learning disabilities. It helps de-stress. Some people can't play games. They end up getting more stressful. But you need to look at games as a way of therapy and not as a way of raging and taking your anger out. It's a way to help you relax, a way to help you strategize and use your brain in a way that you never thought about using before. Because of who I am as a person, I always think of myself as very charismatic. I always feel myself of always wanting to do what I want to do. And even if I don't have the knowledge, or even if I don't have the strength, or whatever you want to say you don't have, when you put a passion towards something, you can achieve it. You can strive and get it. You just have to push. Because we only live once, and you never get another chance at it if you don't even try.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing that, Dooney. Tell Dooney what you think about his community moment in the comments, or you can tell him yourself on our Oasis Gaming Discord. The link is in the comments below if you want to join our little community. You can also see more of ChicNwingDooney on his Twitch channel at twitch.tv/ChicNwingDooney. So thank you again for watching, and we will see you next time.